these rappers run like a hard drill. Rock band show you how the guitar feel. And I could care less how y'all feel.
What is up? I'm NYJohn. This is the SECS Sunday Evening Cup Series presented by NYJohn.com, and this is Grass versus Sleisel+4, aka April O'Neil Esports. And we're getting into this game after having to remake a dozen times because of random Steam issues. We can finally get underway. We see bans have been done and picks are already coming out, so let's take a look at what they banned out first. Grass took out Batrider and Undying, while Sleisel+4 took out Bounty Hunter and Darkseer. And first picked Jakiro and added to that a Sven and a Magnus, looking vaguely similar to what they went in their first game. If you've been with me for the long haul, you know what I'm referencing. And then Grass selected up Tidehunter, Keeper of the Light, and Templar Assassin. At least two of those heroes they had in the last game. I'm not sure about Keeper of the Light, but in their last effort, from what I saw on their stream, it looked like perhaps partially good play by Grass and partially a big throw by Monk. Can't really decipher where it was. I was only watching it a little bit. So we'll have to see what happens in this game. Sleisel+4 have looked immaculate throughout the day today. Question is, can they keep it up and go forward? The hat trick, taking all three in a row SECS titles, moving into the playoffs in a prominent position to perhaps win the month. And now we see bands coming out in the second stage. Chaos Knight and Naga Siren taken out by Sleisel+4, excuse me, and Grass taking out Invoker and Rubik. Now the final bands coming up. It's going to be Nikes for the Radiant Squad and the Dire with their final ban. It looks like they want to take out another solo. Queen of Pain, maybe. And it's going to be Quap. I am so smart. And thank you very much for watching. I'm NYJohn, of course. This is my Twitch TV channel you're watching this on. So be sure to follow me here on Twitch. I'll give you a shout out during the middle of the cast. I know it's not that great of an incentive, but it's all I got right now. And, of course, check out my YouTube channel afterwards where VODs will be available of today's games, including Sleisel+4 versus Sleisel+4 versus... who'd they play last round? I can't remember. Well, they versed somebody. And this game, Sleisel+4 versus Grass. Actually, I have the brackets open right next to me. Versus RNG. So all three of the games will be available. I think this is probably the last game I'm going to cast of the day, unless it's really short. Then I can go on and maybe do the semifinals. This is a quarterfinal matchup. The winner of this will be in a nice position, poised to try and get as many points from this leg of the tournament as they can. We see a pick coming out. It's going to be Visage from Sleisel+4. So here we saw them run earlier, and he actually dominated. I believe it was Tashi Yarson on him, and he won 8 for 4 for 2. It was outrageous. The amount of damage coming out from him, it was really impressive. And I like to see different heroes, and of course, Sleisel+4, aka April O'Neil Esports, have been satisfying that need to see a variety of heroes, especially in the SECS, where unique strategies are that much more fun and interesting. Shadow Demon picked up by Grass. That's going to be a support. So I wonder if they're going to put Tidehunter in the long lane or Keeper of the Light. They have some options. And then Gyrocopter once again picked up by Sleisel+4. So we'll probably see Hannah Montana on the Gyro again. And it worked out well the first time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. On the contrary, if you're the Jets, you are very broken and you need to try and fix everything. Shout out to the New York Jets.
10 seconds remaining.
And final pick coming out in a moment here from Grass. We'll see what they want to round up the lineup with. They probably looking for someone to be the recipient of the farm on their potential tri-lane, I'd say. If I had to take a guess, I wouldn't, because it could be nearly anything. And it's going to be a Luna, so a hero that we saw a lot in the past. a fair amount in the past. It just certainly gained popularity after IG running it to great avail during the International too. And it's a fun hero to see. So we'll see how Luna can manage. Let's go over who's playing what for the Dire team, aka Team Grass. We have ZYZZ playing Tidehunter. We have Felony on top of Keeper of the Light. Hitman's playing Templar Assassin. Doom Ma Mai is playing Shadow Demon. And F4L is playing Luna. For the Radiant team, Team Sleisel+4, we have Hannah Montana on Gyrocopter, Sleisel on Magnetar. We have Sven being played by Ryu Boras, Tashiorson playing Visage, and Defect playing Jakiro. So very similar heroes from what we've seen coming out from Sleisel+4 in this match, as I have been following their team for the entirety of the day in terms of the games I've casted. Interested to see if Grass can perhaps pose a threat to them. They've won both of their games in under 25 minutes. The first game really one-sided. The second game a little bit more even, but still a struggle for the team they were against. And maybe this one is going to fulfill all of our desires and be a captivating 45-minute throwdown. Once again, thanks for everyone who is tuning in. The rotation toward the top, seems like they didn't run into anyone here. It's going to be an aggressive tri-lane, and we've seen how much damage this can output. They placed the ward down really early. This is trying to pick somebody off here, but Tide isn't even showing his face quite yet. And it looks like the Dire have a similar idea. They're going to run an aggressive tri-lane of their own. So it's making its way down here towards the bottom lane, and this will be interesting to see who gets the better of it. Gyrocopter isn't going to be able to stand very strong against this lane. I mean, if they keep the pressure on and actually don't rotate the supports out of here, this is going to be very difficult for Hannah Montana. And I'd expect to see perhaps some adjustments come out early from the Radiant side. Meanwhile, middle is a 1v1 Magnus versus Lanaya. And this is going to favor Lanaya. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. Perhaps she's even win the base damage battle. So Lanaya, pretty solid. There's rotation in. A couple pings are coming on the middle lane, but he's going to go ahead and skewer her up. This could be trouble. Ice Path flies out. Him and they drop down a sentry just in case, but it's not enough damage to finish her off. And she'll be just fine. So a nice attempt to try and get things rolling early here with a kill on Lanaya, but they were deprived of such, as she was alerted and backed off in a timely fashion. On the bottom lane, though, Hannah Montana is actually going to go down. First blood coming out for Team Grass. And it's just as I prophesized. It's a tough lane down here, and the supports are actually making their way down here. So it's going to be a tri-lane effort for Gyrocopter to get his farm going. And that will definitely help him out a lot. In fact, they're just going to swap up the lanes entirely as Ryu Boros makes his way up here. He doesn't have enough mana for a stun, but it does come up now, and now Felony's going to be in a world of hurt. They do throw down the disruption to try and keep him safe for another moment or so, but that won't do much as the Soul Assumption flies out and finishes him off. Since Visage is a hero we don't see all too much, I don't really know the skill names by heart. So, excuse me while I cheat and check. So, the top lane now is going to be Tidehunter versus Gyrocopter. Interesting lane. I mean, every time you see Gyrocopter is interesting, but I don't know. I think Tidehunter can stand pretty strong in this lane. He's going to get a good amount of farm. If he can make something out of it and get himself going early on, it's going to be nice for the Dire side. We'll have to see. Let's bring up our last hits and denies and see where everyone stands. Lanaya is now 9 for 8. We see Sven is 9 for 2. He picks it up at 10 for 2 now. So Sven doing a good job of getting his last hits down. And Lanaya getting the better of this middle exchange, as you would expect, though. Not too far behind Sleisel, so only about 3 CS behind. So nothing glaring there in the stats early on. We see a little bit of Luna trying to jump in and put some damage on top of Sven, but she'll back off. Doesn't want to get too deep in there. Illuminate flies off. Ice Pat's going to catch off Felony, but Jakiro has to be careful as he is 1 versus 3 over here in this barred off part of the woods. Now there's enough mana up on Sven in a moment for a stun. And it looks like the Dire team are being very cautious, and Sven is winning the CS battle at the moment, and this is what the Radiant want. The lane is pushing a little bit, so this is going to help them out slightly. We'll see if they can make anything of it. Luna goes for early Tranquils, so going to get those nice Tranquil boost up. The armor should definitely be a nice help as well if they try and jump on her. Luna's stepping very far forward, but they decide not to try and capitalize on it. They let her back up. And it is tough to go on a tri-lane that has a keeper light with Illuminate flying out, dealing so much damage this early in the game. But nonetheless, I expect to see aggression from either side, and this lane's going to reach a breaking point, and all chaos is going to break loose as Magnus runs to get a haste run at the top. Magnus now 9 for 1 against 20 for 10 on Templar Assassins. So this is the lead that I was mentioning earlier. She just has a huge advantage in the lane, and it's starting to actually culminate in a sizable CS advantage. Stun comes out on Luna. They're going to chain it off, but Disruption will block the Ice Path from hitting her. Dual Breath will hit on her, though. The slow comes out from Visage, and then a Soul Assumption as well, but they can't get the last hit, and they end up losing Visage in the middle of it. Sven unable to land the last hit that would have secured a kill on Luna, which would have made the death of their support hero worthwhile. But instead, it's just the kill for the tri-lane of the Dire. And that went pretty poorly for Sleisel+4, as the kill lead is now 2-1 in favor of Grass. And middle lane, once again, Hitman is pressing his advantage against Sleisel, forcing him back. Psionic Trap is going to pop off now. He's going to throw on the Refraction and get some autos on the back end of it. A Melt Strike will take him down to around a quarter health. A couple more auto attacks to do the job, but he doesn't want to dive under the tower too far. And as such, Magnus will be okay, but he needs to retreat all the way back to his base. And that's slightly unfortunate, especially early on. He's going to end up giving more of a lead to Templar Assassin than she already has, and this lane is going very poorly. I'd expect to see Magnus start moving sooner than later. Ice Path is going to fly out. It hits right on Luna, chained up with a stun. The Disruption comes out, but after a lot of damage has already been done, and now F4AL trying to make it out of there. The Soul Assumption, though, is going to hit for a ton of damage and finish her off. Now Ryu Boar is thinking about coming in from the side, but he needs to bottle up and try and get some mana first. And in fact, he won't have enough mana for a Stormbolt, so he will relent, and this is the movement we were talking about from Sleisel. He actually made his way to the bottom lane. However, not going to convert on anything. Hitman sitting down here waiting for a rune to spawn, but it will respawn at the top spawn. And now he will be attacked by Magnus as well as Sven in the area. Sven has a stun in 10 mana, but is still a while away. Skewer's going to push him back, but now he's in the middle of 4 enemies once Luna joins the mix. Jakiro is here. He threw down one Ice Path to try and save them. Hitman's going to go ahead and pop the Refraction. We'll probably see the Sonic Trap in a moment. It's off cooldown now. It's not going to be well placed, and in fact, everyone will be just fine as we stand right now. Sonic Trap on top of Magnus. He's going to take a couple auto attack damage with the boost from Refraction as well. Drops down to just below half health and throws down a Shockwave to try and get some CS going. Meanwhile, at the top lane, we do see 22 for 4 on Gyrocopter CS versus Tide 26 for 3. So Tide getting the better of this in terms of those last hits right now. But Gyrocopter being able to stand in the lane and still doing a good job in his own right. Nothing too concerning for either team. I think, in fact, it's probably a little bit better for Grass just because Tide's going to get involved earlier. But Gyrocopter being the carry for all intents and purposes is going to be good that he gets a nice solid base farm up early. On the bottom lane, we do see Sven has made his way back here. Visage is here as well. Looks like Sleisel on that. Magnus is going to TP in too, try and cause some chaos. Reverse Polarity is up. Maybe see him skewer in and try and go for a big reverse polarity, but he's going to be spotted off here by the creeps. He gets pinged by the enemy team, and they will back off. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Gyrocopter could be in trouble as from the back end. We do see an invisible Templar Assassin's going to run up here, but he somehow jukes her. Hannah Montana, the Magician. Intuition juking all day, and now Sleisel runs in, uses the reverse polarity, a nice stun on the back end of it. A Dual Breath is going to take Luna down really low, but not enough to finish her off. She ticks down to 15 health, but will survive. And everyone else is just going to back off. 2-2 is the kill score. We have Sleisel+4 versus Grass. Uh-oh. Jakiro may be in trouble here as Hitman's going to run on top of him. He throws down an Ice Path, doesn't turn. Well played there. And it will slow down Templar Assassin considerably, but can he get under the tower before too much damage amounts? One more hit will do the job, and down he goes. A kill for TA in the middle lane. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they throw down a ward. They're able to spot off. This is just, he retreats under the tower. Disruption's going to pop off on top of Ouroboros as well. He's going to have to back off. A nice Illuminate comes in, and it's going to hit and deal a decent amount of damage. There's a split aggression. He throws down a Stormbolt that was stunned on top of Tide. Meanwhile, Jakiro comes back in as well, and they get the last hit. They're able to finish off Luna behind the tower as Hannah Montana came in to help the effort too. And he has a regen room bottled up as well. Sven sitting on 500 gold. Maybe going to pick up his boots in a moment here. It looks like Sleisel will opt to make his way back to the middle lane. Oh, they're actually going to run into Felony on Keeper of the Light. An Ice Path flies off. It's going to slow him down just enough to get killed by the Rocket Barrage. Hannah Montana securing a kill on top of Felony. And now going to push towards the Tier 1 tower. The Tier 1 tower is sitting at full health. They're going to need a lot of big effort. Sven's going to pop off the God Strength. Glyph is still available. A TP is coming in. It will be Keeper of the Light, so he's going to go ahead and throw down those Illuminates to try and slow down this effort. Another TP coming in as well. He'll be joined by Shadow Demon, and walking behind them is going to be Tide. He is level 6, but already popped off that Ravage, so does not have it for another 70 seconds, and as such, won't be as effective in a team fight as he could potentially be. Visage makes her way to the middle lane. He's level 4. Sleisel is now level 6 on Magnus, so still level 6 rather, as he's stagnated in terms of experience for a minute or two. Wards placed on each other by the bottom rune. So pretty good vision on the bottom half of the map for the Dire team. A little more equalized though. Reverse polarity in the middle lane is going to pull them all together, but they don't have enough follow-up to take down either TA or Shadow Demon. So that is that. Reverse polarity used to kind of save his own neck. Nothing more, nothing less. On the bottom lane, we see Keeper of the Light going to throw off and get a little bit of farm going. He's 9 for 2 in terms of CS now. Not too bad. Picking up some gold where he can. Nobody else is down here, so why not? Meanwhile, it looks like Tidehunter goes behind the tower to try and look for somebody back there, but there is no one there. Now Sven's going to run into Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon is going to be in trouble. Can they finish him off? Rocket Barrage pops and will certainly take him down. Meanwhile, F4L thinking about coming in here. TA is there as well. She pops off a haste rune and is going to charge in. Wraps around, and they're actually going to dive under the tower. The Sonic Trap will slow them down just enough to reconsider. A nice Meld Strike, and Shockwave is going to deal a good amount of damage to TA, excuse me. A lot of players up here. TA comes in again, throws down another Sonic Trap, is trying to slow them down for a team to get in range. But she is hasted, so considerably faster than everybody else. And as such, they aren't able to engage perhaps where they wanted to. That Rocket Barrage deals so much damage. It really is a nifty skill. And now it looks like they're going to push on the back end of it, try and get some aggression under the tower. They do have a Ravage available, so not a bad idea, as well as Lunar Eclipse is available as well. And there's some nice damage coming out. They're going to throw a beam on him, but the Ice Path to try and keep him safe. Luna doesn't chase anyway, so he will be okay. Gyrocopter will survive for the moment. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, they're looking for a trade. They're going to go try and push down the Tier 1 here. And this is going to force Grass to try and get this tower to make it an even exchange, if you will. Jakiro does get gushed up here, and he may be in trouble. The Lucent Beam flies. ZYZZ thinking about popping a Ravage, it looked like, but decides better of it. Keeper of the Light now going to have to pop a Salve under the tower after taking a couple hits. It looks like the Tier 1 has been saved in the middle lane by the rotation in from Templar Assassin. So, wise decision. And here comes the Ravage. ZYZZ walks in, but his team is far behind, and it's going to be a wasted effort. He's going to drop here. Stands no chance, and they might get a kill on top of Keeper of the Light as well. No, Ice Path is going to fly. It actually misses. Missile's going to hit in a little while, but I don't think they want to chase into Luna with the Eclipse up. But they still will. Creeps do come up, so Eclipse will be less effective. Disruption's going to slow down Felony a little bit. A nice Stormbolt's going to hit on 2. That's 2 more kills for Sleisel+4, as F4L just has to back off. Fortify from the Radiant team, as TA, who was absent from the action of the top lane, is actually taking down the tower as low as possible. Meanwhile, looks like the Radiant are going to be content with trying to push this Tier 1 on the top lane. TP coming in as well. So last team fight pretty significant for the Radiant, getting the Ravage off and not losing anyone. They picked up 3 kills or so, and it's going to be a nice victory for them in the grand scheme of things. We can check out our gold graph. It looks like the gold was going decently in favor of the Dire. It's starting to curve backwards, though, towards a true equal or a true zero. Same can be said of the experience. So the Dire relinquishing a little bit of the lead that they had. They're going to continue to try and push on this tower, and now Glyph is down. The tower is down to a 4th health. Disruption is popped on top of Gyrocopter, and Ice Path flies out. Eclipse is used to take down Magnus, but down goes Shadow Demon as they do drop the Thunder on top of him. The ultimate from Gyrocopter cooldown is enough to take him. And it looks like they're going to stick with this and try and push down this tower. It is pretty low, so you can understand why they want to, with Magnetar down and no reverse polarity anyway when he revives. They could probably get this tower pretty easily, and it looks like they will be able to do that right now. Last hit is going to go to Luna. So Luna looking pretty solid right now. Picks up drums on the back end of her Aquila, or Aquila, however you say it. So looking pretty solid. F4L. Wise decisions, isn't getting in over his head. Ice Path is going to fly out, though, just as I say it. A missile's coming at 2. The dual breath will slow him down just a little bit, and the missile's going to hit, but a Ravage flies off from ZYZZ, and now it's going to be a lot of trouble as they turn this around. Visage is going to drop. Defect is going to be a lot of trouble. A stun comes out. The Stormbolt will be enough to save him for a moment. God's Strength is popped, but the Illuminate does take down Visage, but they're able to take down Keeper of the Light. They do lose Gyrocopter, though. And now F4L is just trying to run away from Sven. The Gargoyle's in hot pursuit, trying to get the stun down on him, but it looks like they will be unable to catch him. And that fight looked like perhaps a little bit in favor of Grass. So this is a much more even affair than the games we watched previously. Well, we do see Luna is still in the area. So are the Gargoyles, though, and they're really forcing her to stay further back than she'd like. Going to pop off the Warcry and back out. That's a wise decision. They'll leave behind 1 Gargoyle. I'm not sure if it's intentional or just miscue. And now he's going to retreat anyway. So not a big deal. The middle lane is going to be pushed out a little bit as Shockwave is being used to last hit some of these creeps. Perhaps they're going to look for a tower kill up here. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, TA continuing to farm. Now does have the Blink Dagger a little bit later than what you'd expect out of a TA that had a decisive advantage in lane, but still good nonetheless. And she'll be looking to make the most of that as soon as possible. Magnus is going to rotate up, find a double damage rune, throw that into his bottle, and save it for a rainy day. We're going to see Defect on Jakiro, full support duty, so not much going on in terms of items. Same can be said of Visage, not really anything going on. Ray Boris on Spen has a bottle and treads, 900 gold in the bank. Maybe he wants to go for that BKB next. We'll have to wait and see which path he's going to take. Meanwhile, Hannah Montana on Gyrocopter going for the same item build that he went for last time, it looks like. Helmet Dominator will be his first choice, and then he'll probably work his way into an eventual Manta. Hitman now in the Radiant jungle. If he walks past here, he's going to be spotted by the ward. So we'll see if they spot him and what the reaction will be once they do so. Or perhaps he's actually going to rotate back. They're going to try and jump on top of Gyrocopter. Gyro could be in trouble, but they decide against it. This tower on the bottom lane sitting pretty low on health if they want to try and push this out. Wouldn't be a bad idea either. Thank you for joining me. I'm NYJohn, and looks like there's going to be action, though. Trouble for Keeper. He's going to get disrupted, and it looked like he was almost safe, and now the Soul Assumption comes out and takes down Keeper. Huge damage. Meanwhile, the Melstrike on top of Jakiro, that's going to be enough to finish him off. He does get the Macro Power out before he drops. Hannah Montana with a Rocket Barrage, able to finish off Shadow Demon. ZYCC going to try and make it out, but the missile is in hot pursuit, and now F4L is going to pop off the Eclipse. The Eclipse not going to deal all too much damage, and now Soul Assumption flies off, and the double damage Magnetar is going to deal a ton of damage to him. Down he goes. ZYCZ turns around to try and save his teammate, but perhaps going to cost him. No, won't, as he is able to retreat safely. A big team fight there in favor of Sleisel+4. So that looked like a really overall just poor fight set up from the Dire. kind of allowed the Radiant to have their way with them and impose their will. So perhaps we'll have to see some changes coming forward in the way that they're pursuing their fights, because that was definitely ugly. And now the kill lead is 14-9 in favor of the Radiant team. And let's check out our graphs while we have a moment. So we can see over 2,000 gold in favor of the Dire, but it is definitely curving back towards the middle. Experience slightly in favor of the Radiant. So still a really even affair according to those graphs. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, a missed kill. Shadow Demon is able to take down Visage. So a nice little kill there on the support, picking him off in the jungle. So well played. We'll see. Let's check out our net worth. And it shows us that Luna is actually in first, 6,100 gold. So very solid effort from her. But not too far behind is Gyro. And things are looking pretty good for him. As in the last couple of fights, he's been able to really excel. This tower is going to be pushed down, and it doesn't really stand a chance. The last hit is going to go to Luna. So that much more gold for her as well. And now we do see the farm on Templar Assassin jump a little bit as she surpasses the Gyrocopter with that last hit gold. And going to push the middle tier tower, take it down as far as they can without having to engage. So, meanwhile, the Dire not relenting on the bottom. They're putting some damage on the tier 2 down here, but they realize everyone TPing out. They need to back off, throw some Sonic traps to keep their escape rather safe, and they will be able to do so. Sven's going to look for some farm in the top lane, able to pick some off. He has 1,100 gold in the bank. He already has an Ogre Club, so he's looking towards a BKB. He's still about 1,800 gold or so away from getting that done. A big smoke comes out as 4 heroes are invisible in the middle lane now. They're going to rotate up top and try and find a kill and get a tower on the back end of it as well. We'll see if they're going to be able to convert here. So, Hannah Montana, Sleisel, Tashi Yorson, and Defect all coming up here. Leading the way is Ryu Boras. They have to know something is up because he is very deep into the lane. In fact, Hannah Montana is going to get revealed out of his smoke. And as such, the Dire team are going to back up. But there are 5 heroes here, so this is going to be a really big fight. Once again, everyone's ultimate is up. We'll see who can get the better of the initiation. If it's going to be a reverse polarity to start things off, or if it's going to be a Ravage, that will be very pertinent to who is getting the better of the fight. ZYZZ is going to get stunned off here by Gargoyles, as well as the Stormbolt flying in. The Soul Assumption is going to deal a good amount of damage as well. The ultimate flies off, and there goes the reverse polarity. He's going to catch a lot in it. They're able to finish off Tidehunter before he can get an ultimate. 4 dead. The only one standing is Templar Assassin, and she's nowhere near the fight. As Sleisel+4 rock grass in a huge team fight. And on the back end, they'll get an easy tier 1 tower here. They may even march towards a tier 2. Beautiful initiation. Well played. And overall, just outstanding effort there. And you have to wonder, they kind of, Grass may have dropped the ball on that one. When I say may have, they definitely did. They grouped up perfectly for Magnus to really devastate them. Even Tide taking that early damage put him in a spot where he wasn't able to survive through that next initiation that came onto him. And now it looks like Sleisel+4 are going to back up. Be pretty proud of themselves. The kill lead is now 18-10 in their favor. Let's take a look at our graphs that are going to drastically change. We see the gold at one point it was over 4,000 in favor of the Dire. Now it's over 1,000 in favor of the Radiant. Really minimal. It's not a huge lead. 3,000 experience for the Radiant. Both things are fairly negligible. It's going to come down to who can execute in the team fights. And as we saw in the last team fight, the Radiant really got the better of the affair. Now everybody's taking some time to farm up. On our net worth graph, we can see that Gyrocopter actually just jumped above Luna because of that last fight. And Sven's now catching up decently. He's at 6,300 gold, so let's see if he's able to finish off. Yeah, he's only 200 gold away from that big BKB, and that's going to be really impactful. Being able to stand through the Ravage, being able to stand through the Eclipse, and all that magic damage that comes out from Luna, it's really going to be beneficial in team fights. So that's going to be a nice pickup for this Radiant squad once they're able to get it up. Meanwhile, let's check out some of the items going for our Dire team. There's a 4-staff up on Keeper of the Light, so he's been doing a good job of getting the farm when no one else is in the lane. He does have 6 deaths, but being able to pick up a 4-staff is imperative to what you want to do as a support, being able to be that much more influential in those teamfight scenarios. Meanwhile, Luna picks up an Ogre Club on the back end of a Yasha, so her damage output is good. It looks like she might be going for BKB on the bottom lane, though. Gyrocopter on a killing spree, able to finish off Tide as well. I don't even know how that happened, why anyone was up this far, but another 2 kills essentially just fed to the Radiant team. And they have to thank him for that one, because that was a gracious donation. And let's keep looking at items. Shadow Demon, not much going on. He's doing that full support job. And Templar Assassin going for a BKB of her own. So everybody kind of in between. Everyone has that first item up in terms of the carries. Looking for that second item. Hannah Montana, meanwhile, does pick up his Yasha. So damage output is getting up there. He almost has enough gold for a full mantle. He's about 400 away from that. And certainly that will help him and his team out significantly. He's going to pick up an illusion rune here. So there may be a lot of gyrocopters in the near future. Let's see. Visage opts to pick up a point booster. So gargoyles are upgradable by an Aghanim Scepter. I'm not sure what it does. I'm not sure I've ever seen it before. Interested to see what it actually does, if it gives an extra gargoyle or gives them extra boost. And a Roche attempt from grass, maybe? Gush does fly. They counter-warded. It looks like it's a... They're going to back up. That was a little bit perplexing because they knew that the Radiant team was right in the middle lane. That was a very risky decision if they commit to it. So fortunately for them, probably, they were able to back up. And Gyrocopter going to stay for buyback, although it looks like he's actually running into them. I'm not sure if this is a lag spike, but that is a huge mental error. And the Illuminate's going to fly off, take him down pretty low. Ryubora's in the middle of the fight, though. Going to pop off that God Strength. Take Shadow Demon down low, but he gets healed up by a mech. Seemed to fly off. And now Eclipse is going to go off, and it's going to hit a lot of hits on top of these Radiant heroes. Down goes Jakiro. 2 heroes dead for the Radiant, 1 hero dead for the Dire. And now it looks like Sleisel is going to run in. He's trying to finish off Keeper of the Light, but he doesn't have enough damage to do so. Illuminate flies off, and the last hit will go to Shadow Demon. A really messy fight on the back end of what looked like a lag spike or a disconnect or something for Gyro. It kind of forced their hand into an engagement, and that may have cost them dearly. They lost 4 heroes there. They got a couple of kills of their own, but now they're going to potentially lose this Roche, as we do see Templar Assassin, Tidehunter, and Shadow Demon rotate into the pit. Roche is at half health now. It's being pinged by Magnetar. So they have some inclination that, in fact, they are going for the Roche, but they're not going to be able to stop it with the Gargoyles alone, who are flying in overhead. And they're going to try and maybe destroy the Aegis once it pops out, but the Gargoyles will actually just die. A little stun to delay it that much further, but Roche is going down in a moment here, so this is going to be a huge pickup for Grass. Oh, Purple is making it here. Jakiro. Can Jakiro be a hero? No, he gets disrupted up. He may be in trouble. Not enough mana for a Demonic Purge, but instead he's still going to take a whopping... And one more auto attack will do the job. Down he goes. But reverse polarity as Sleisel comes in. He takes down 1 only, actually. Keeper of the Light will drop. And the other one's the Aegis. Oh, he's going to push him up on the high ground. Templar Assassin is stuck in a bad spot. Stormbolt flies out. Sleisel is going to try and 1v1 him. They pop off a dust to reveal him. And now, with the damage flying out, they're able to take down the Aegis, as well as Templar Assassin and Keeper of the Light. A really nice play there. Jakiro sacrificing himself to make that possible for his team. Now Magnetar with that Blink Dagger, showing it off in that last exchange. Looks like he might be working towards perhaps the Refresher again. And we see Sven does have his BKB up. He also has 900 gold as well. Visage, 800 gold in the bank, taking over some of those warding duties for his buddy Jakiro. And Jakiro's trying to pick up a mech. He's 150 gold away from doing so. And now a gem up on Visage, so that's really nice for him. Hannah Montana, meanwhile, decides to pick up a BKB and not get a Manta. So that'll make him that much more tough to take down in team fights. F4L does have BKB finish up in his bank, so things looking pretty good for him as well, but 23-15 is a kill lead in favor of the Radiant team. As I've mentioned a couple times already, a much more even affair than any of the other games we've seen today. Sleisel+4, the reigning two-time winners of the past 2 weeks of SECS, looking for a three-peat. However, Grass not going to relent without a fight. We're at the 28-minute mark, and the game is not over, which says a lot considering the way the other ones went today. 4,000 gold in advantage for the Radiant, as well as 4,000 experience. That is not much at all. It can change in the matter of one team fight. We see a grouping from the Dire team towards the bottom lane. 4 heroes in this area. All ultimates are available for almost everybody. Actually, Visage just doesn't have gargoyle, so pretty much all ultimates are up at the moment. And this could be another big clash. And the question is the reverse polarity going to get the better of them again? And it looks like they have a better spread going on right now. They're bracing themselves for an inevitable initiation. F4L is just chilling in the jungle. He's going to try and get his farm up, so his team is without their main carry and their biggest source of damage output. So a little bit questionable, but Sleisel+4 aren't really in a position to try and take advantage of this, and as such they will be able to retreat safely and resume their normal activities. I want to thank everyone who's tuning in. I'm NYJohn. This is the Sunday Evening Cup Series presented by NYJohn. Thank you for watching, and you're on my Twitch channel right now, so be sure to follow me here on Twitch. I really appreciate the support. 3 people have already done so today. Thank you so much, guys. And we see a smoke coming up here. Sleisel+4 are going to try and push forward. All VODs of today's matches will be available on my YouTube channel later tonight. That's www.youtube.com/NYJohnTV. So be sure to check that out as well. If you subscribe there, that would be awesome too. I know I'm very greedy. I want everyone to worship me, but that's how it is trying to be a caster, I guess. And a ward's going to fly up on the high rock. This smoke is going to run into nobody. But they get a nice aggressive ward placement down. This allows Gyrocopter to be a little bit more adventurous in the top lane while he's farming. And now Sven does pick up a Mask of Madness. So it's going to increase his damage output significantly. But also the damage he takes, of course, will increase. I'm going to see the Dire team now taking their shot at a smoke, and they're going to be able to catch him out here. This could be the initiation that Tidehunter has been dreaming of. In comes Hitman. He pops off the BKB. The Ravage catches a lot in the middle of it. Eclipse flies off, but everyone pops their own BKBs. And now a great Ice Path is going to catch 3. The call down from Gyrocopter is going to take down 2 heroes. Tide is dead as well as Keeper of the Light. And now it looks like Hannah Montana is going to try and finish off someone that gets disrupted. In fact, it is Shadow Demon himself. Shockwave flies off, but it's enough to finish them both off. Ryu Boris with the double kill. Able to finish off both Shadow Demon and Luna there, I believe. And now the last man standing yet again is Templar Assassin, but they're going to go ahead and march on into the base as Templar Assassin trying to take down Sleisel on the back end of it, and will be unable to do so. And the base may be in trouble here. Sven's dealing a good amount of damage. Hannah Montana's still pretty healthy. In 15 seconds, I'll have Illusions up as well. They're just going to try and get this melee Braxton back up. Nobody buying back. I'm really surprised that we didn't see a buyback coming out from Luna. An immediate buyback at that. It's really... Oh, Hitman's going to be in trouble. He actually gets caught out back here. Rocket Barrage plus a stun. Down he goes. The cooldown just in case he survived. And it will be unnecessary. And I want to reiterate, I'm really surprised that Luna didn't buy back there. I guess without an ultimate, she felt she couldn't do much on her own. That could potentially be the reason. But anything to try and save that Rax, as we are in the 32-minute mark, and now the first melee barracks has been taken down by Team Sleisel+4. Now Magnus does pick up his Mystic Staff. Interesting. So he has an Oblivion Staff and a Mystic Staff. I guess this is a staff build, but I thought he was going for a Refresher. Perhaps he changed gears and is going towards the Shivas or something along those lines. The middle lane is going to be pushed out here by his team. Bottom 2 is pinged off. It looks like they're going to try and rotate and take down the final outer base tower. And the way they've been team fighting, they've been getting the better of all these exchanges. So, I mean, they have to feel really confident right now, to say the least. There's not much the Dire team can do that's different from what they are doing. The last fight got off a good Ravage before BKBs. Hit on a lot of heroes, and seemingly should have set up a good team fight for the Dire, but didn't quite pan out in their favor. And as such, if you're on the Dire team or if you're a fan of the Dire team, it's a little bit disheartening. So here we go. They're going to get disruption on top of Hannah Montana. Gyrocopter may be in a little bit of trouble, but they don't initiate on the back end of it. A gush will fly off. Ultra coming up for everyone in a moment here. So here it goes. Illuminate's going to come out to try and stop the wave. Oh, the BKB gets popped just as the Ravage flies off. Ryubora's taking a good amount of damage still, and it looks like the first death is going to be Visage. She drops down pretty early on. Ryubora's goes down as well. Jakiro's dead too. This team fight may be the one that the Dire have been looking for as they take down 4 for 2. Hannah Montana still trying to finish some people off in the middle of it, though. He's going to pop out the Rocket Barrage, and Hitman can't stand toe-to-toe with him. In fact, ZYZZ is going to come in, and they're going to try and use numbers in their advantage, but still, wow. Hannah Montana goes down, can't finish off anybody, and a huge team fight for Grass there as they take down the entire opposing side. A full team wipe. And I guess... the Visage dropping really early. His damage output is actually pretty significant from the Soul Assumption. I guess they lost his damage output as well as the jump on the fight. And it really looked like perhaps one of the problems was Sven taking that increased amount of damage because he was taking a world of hurt even though he had his BKB popped. So, something to consider, perhaps more armor, since that's the only thing you're really scared of while you're under the effect of BKB, but instead he's going to go for a Chrysalis, as you'd expect, though. It's probably too late to try and veer off course. And this room going to be picked up by Templar Assassin towards the top lane. She has 3,200 gold in the bank. We'll see if she's going to save up for a buyback or go for perhaps more damage output in the form of a Desolator. Roshan is going to respawn in a minute here, so it's probably going to be where the next big contest is going to be. Try and see who can pick up that Aegis. Shakira did finish off his mech and had that during the last fight. Meanwhile, Magnus chilling at the same items. Hannah Montana picks up a Demon Edge. So let's see. Demon Edge, I suppose he could be going for either an MKB or Daedalus. Probably Daedalus. Nope, MKB, because Eagle Song has been acquired on Luna. So if he sees that, he'll probably go ahead and finish that off so he doesn't have to deal with the dodge. Procs, and here we go. The Smoke In is going to catch them. Shadow Demon is going to melt. And he drops down instantly. And now they're going to pursue Keeper of the Light as well, but they're not going to get in range of him. The missile will fly off and try and catch him in his safe place. And now it looks like they pushed in the middle lane, but they don't really have a second lane to swap to. They're going to try and take down this range barracks here. And it's going down pretty easily. But are they going to back up? It looks like Sven's going to stand his ground. He doesn't want to lose all of his mana. But they're still afraid to jump on him. So Sven with that very commanding presence on the back end of all of his farm. Too intimidating for the Dire team to try and go on. Templar Assassin is still farming the Radiant Jungle, so off on her own now. 3,900 gold in the bank. Illusion Rune and Bot River going to be picked up by maybe Sven, maybe Gyro. Actually, Jakiro gets it. And now we wait. Roche is back up. They're going to try to position themselves for a Roche attempt here. Are there any wards? It looks like they just took down one. So they know that there's no vision on them at the moment. So poised for a strike on Roshan. They're both illusions pushing forward. They know that Luna is in the top lane and they're going to go. That's pretty much the indicator for them to go ahead and try and jump on it. Luna is in the top lane, very far away, but they back off. And now they're going to try and pick off a kill or two here first. And that would definitely set them up for a better position to take down Roche. But Luna still showing herself in the top lane. You kind of want them to commit to this and just try and take it down. Boris is dropping down from Roche, though. They're going to go ahead and pop off the God Strength to try and take it down really quickly. Luna is not retreating at all. And instead, we have Jakiro trying to ward off the onlookers, and in fact, will do so with the Ice Path. And Roche will be claimed. It'll be thrown onto the Sven, and now Sleisel is going to try and jump onto Templar Assassin, but Templar Assassin able to get away pretty easily. Now Luna has retreated, but it's too late as they've given up the Aegis to the Radiant team. It looks like they're going to try and push for this Tier 2. You have to wonder if they're really going to contest this Tier 2 at this stage of the game, if this is where they want to have their team fight. So here we go. Engagement on the Tier 2. Ice Path flies off. It's not going to catch anybody. Illuminate will take out most of the wave. And here comes the ZYZZ. Blake's in with a huge ravage. A lot of damage coming out on top of Sven, but he's going to respawn because the Aegis had him on down in the middle of the fight. Not sure what to do. He throws down the call down ultimate, and now Sven comes back with a vengeance. He's going to jump, take down one. There's 2 dead for the Dire team. Now 3 as Luna joins the mix. Felony's going to be in trouble as well. If a Stormbolt flies off, he's surely to die. 3 seconds until that's available. Templar Assassin just retreating, trying to get back to the base, and no casualties minus the Aegis for the Radiant team in the team fight right there. Well played by Sleisel+4 again. They're going to march on towards the base. Now Tier 3 is going to be the next focus. God's Strength is back up, so go ahead and do some work. Sven's damage output is just astronomical at this stage of the game. We saw him inflict so much damage on top of those heroes in the middle of that fight. Really set the tone of things to come. Now Soul Assumption is going to fly off, and they're going to try and take down Felony, but the Gargoyles are a little bit off base. The stuns don't hit from them. Cooldown will come as well. Demonic Purge gets thrown on top of someone. A little mana leak is going to back up, and they're able to take down the melee barracks. Now no mana on Sven. Sven may be in trouble. Gush flies off here, and a slow from the Sonic Trap. They're going to go ahead and jump on him. Hitman gets in the middle of it. He pops off his BKB and is just going to try and focus someone down, but too many heroes, and he will drop. Down goes Sven, but he has 4,900 gold in his bank and a second melee barracks to show for it. So not too ashamed of that trade-off. Meanwhile, Hannah Montana did finish up a Daedalus, so I was wrong on my prediction, saying that he was going to get an MKB because he saw the Eagle Song on Luna. In fact, Luna does have a complete butterfly up now. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Again, I'm NYJohn. I hope you're enjoying the cast. Be sure to follow me here on Twitch TV. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. You can find it in info, as well as I've already plugged it a couple times, so I'll spare you. Now, it looks like the push is coming. 1,000 damage crit from Hannah Montana. He means serious business. The push is on the middle lane. It looks like 4 heroes are here. 5 heroes here now. They're going to try and take down this Tier 2. And this is an aggressive look from the Dire team. They're obviously feeling more confident than we would suspect. In comes Illuminate. A rocket's going to fly off. It's targeted onto Luna. Nothing else happening. There's a little bit of jostling back and forth for some positioning in the middle of the fight, but no one really trying to engage quite yet. Ward placed here, so looks like the Dire team are going to be content with backing up and continuing their farm. As we see, Templar Assassin does opt to pick up a Desolator, so her damage output is that much greater as a result of such. Luna, meanwhile, 1,000 gold in the bank. Perhaps going to work towards that buyback. I think that's probably the best plan right now. She's pretty set on items. She can get rid of the drums. She could also turn that Yasha into a Manta, but her damage output is pretty good, hitting for around 250. Meanwhile, we see Jakiro picks up a Ghost Scepter, so it's not a bad item to have against Templar Assassin and even Luna. So that'll be nice. Hannah Montana, meanwhile, 3,800 gold in the bank. Whatever he wants to go for next, he's well on his way. And we have a little bit of a break in the action, as both teams are content with backing off. We have 58 total kills in this game. We're at the 42-minute mark. And everyone is content with farming. This game is now the duration of both of the first games I cast, both of the first 2 games I casted, added together. So that's a good sign. A pretty even game, and I think both teams are still legitimately in this They have a claim. There's a 10,000 gold lead on the Radiant, but we've seen some team fights get away from them. And without the Aegis, perhaps they're not as poised for the victory as they'd hoped to be. Now we see a little bit of a retreat here from some of the team members of the Dire side, but an aggressive Sven is going to run forward and try and get a stun on somebody, but he's going to mana leak all of his mana away. God Strength is active and up though, and now Hitman needs to try and blink out of here. He pops off the BKB, in comes CYCC with a huge Ravage again. He's in the middle of the fight. He drops almost instantly though, and now Ryu Boris is going to go ahead and use the cleave. He takes down 2. We see Shadow Demon's going to try and back off here, but Hannah Montana is going to finish him off rather easily. He goes into disruption to delay the inevitable for a moment. Down goes Templar Assassin as well. Jakiro picking up that last hit. And now we do see Keeper of Light is going to step forward. A couple of buybacks did fly out. So Luna, Keeper of Light, and Templar Assassin are both, or rather are all alive now. Illuminate's going to pop off to try and force back this push. However, it'll only do so for a couple fleeting moments. Unless maybe they are intent on retreating here. Sven finishing up that Daedalus. We saw the full effect of that in the last team fight. And let's check out our Roche timer. Our Roche will be back in 4 minutes. And they're going to back off, so they don't want to press the issue too much, and instead they're going to wait. Interesting choice. I guess they forced enough buybacks to back off there. And it's probably the wise choice. You just want to see more action. I'm being greedy. Once again, thank you guys for watching so much. This is going to be my last game of tonight. So afterwards, be sure to check out Mott's stream. I think he's on NYJohn. And there's another gentleman casting, Blaze Casting, I believe. I don't know what his stream is, but be sure to check those out and watch the remainder of the games to happen tonight. One of these teams is going to be moving on. And once again, nothing really going on across the map. I mean, we can check out the graphs again. It just keeps increasing in favor of the Radiant team, and at some point you're just going to expect them to go ahead and man up and try and push down this top lane. They already have a full set of racks and a melee barracks down, so they're sitting really prominent. They're sitting really strong. They're poised for a victory here, but Grass not quite giving up. And it's an admirable quality, but you have to wonder if perhaps it is all in vain, as we do see a push towards the middle lane and forces Luna to back up here. And I do have to question, Tidehunter just hasn't been as effective as I thought he would be. I mean, with the strong start in terms of the farm going on, it just hasn't really been there. I don't know if I've been missing it sometimes. He got a couple good Ravages, but off the back end of the Ravage isn't really the teamfight decider that you wanted it to be. Not early in the game and not now. However, Reverse Polarity is, and it has been a defining skill, a defining initiation tool for this Radiant squad. So, well played by Magnetar. A little bit of questionable skepticism in regards to Tidehunter. I'm not sure if maybe it's just the fact they don't have that great follow-up. They have erratic damage. They don't have, well, not going to dwell on that issue too much, as we do see heroes grouping up towards the middle lane, perhaps waiting for the next Roche before they push. The next Roche will have a cheese, and it's up in a minute, so that is probably the case. You see a Psionic Trap flies over there, so it can scout it out. Now an Illuminate is going to fly off as well. Takes creeps down to around half health. Let's see what's going on with Sven. He has 3,000 gold in the bank. So buyback is available. He picks up a blink as well. He's that much more mobile. All things looking good for him. Gyrocopter, meanwhile, 8,000 gold in the bank. That is a considerable amount of gold. And he's not spending it. So he also brings around the wolf with him. So he's getting a little bit of the attack aura boost. And a couple wards placed really close together for the Dire team. Will show them that the Radiant team is on their doorstep. And now Shiva's is finished by Magnus. So he did opt for that little switch to the Shivas. The armor will help his whole team. Not a bad idea. Ravage flies off. It catches a couple on the outside border of it. And now Sven once again hit by that drain chakra or whatever it is. Mana leak. And they're going to back off a little bit here. Once again, mana leak on top of Sven. And now it looks like Templar Assassin's going to try and find somebody here. Jakiro has to throw out the Ice Path to try and save his own tail. In come a couple of the Gargoyles, and Sven's actually going to drop, and it looks like Visage is in a bad spot as well. I don't know what's going on right now. In fact, Jakiro is probably going to go down 2. Tidehunter has no mana, but in comes one shot from Templar Assassin, and it's 3 kills for the Dire team. I'm not sure. I can't even begin to understand what happened there. Really poor communication. Buyback forced out from everybody. The whole squad is back up now, and they have to get there to contest the Roche as everybody is moving in that general direction. It's no secret. They know what's going on here, and it's not going to be in time, it doesn't look like, as Roche is going to be dead already. They're going to put this on the back of Luna. Yep, Luna's going to pick up the Aegis, and now it's 4,200 gold as well. Hannah Montana's in a bad spot. He pops off the BKB. He's in the middle of the fight. Throws down the call. The reverse play. He's going to put everyone in the middle of the call down, and he's going to take down everybody. Hannah Montana taking down everyone on Grass's side. And now the Aegis is going to pop, but F4L stands no chance as he revives back into the middle of that. And a 2-man team fight just devastated Grass. And the Dire team has to do their rendition of the Buyback Symphony. As now it looks like perhaps they'll try and push into the base. A plate mail is in the Roche pit. That is an expensive item to drop down. I'm going to see a Stormbolt's going to come up and be enough to finish down Shadow Demon. Keeper of the Light's going to back off a little bit here. Throw down on Illuminate, not fully charged. Sleisel runs in. He throws down the Shivas, but not going to be able to finish him off. Hitman pops out the BKB in the middle of the fight. So does F4L, and they're going to try and go ahead and jump on them here, but Rio Boris is dealing too much damage. Soul Assumption flies out. It's going to hit for a good amount of damage on top of Keeper of the Light as well. Now the cooldown coming down in the middle of the well. Can they finish him off? One more hit would do the job on top of Keeper of the Light, but they don't have it. And instead, they're going to focus down the tier 4s, and this is probably going to be a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. And it looks like Sleisel+4 on the back end of a magnificent 2-man team devastation are going to win this game. Ravage just fly off. It should be enough to finish off Hannah Montana in a moment here. Down he goes. We'll probably hear a Buyback come out momentarily. And Throne is exposed, though. Ryu Boris does not care for any more extension of the game, and he will finish off the Throne. Sleisel+4 get the better of Grass. And a really entertaining semifinal, quarterfinal matchup, perhaps. And it was 50 minutes. 47-29 was the kill score. I'm NYJohn. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel for VODs of all of today's games, as well as subscribe me there and follow me here on Twitch TV. Shout out to the 3 people that already did follow me today. I really appreciate it. Nick13OI, Superman014, and Marvin PA. You guys are cool. Everyone else, you can be cool too. And that's going to be it for me. So, like I said before, be sure to check out NeoDodo for their stream. Check out Blaze Casting. I don't know who he is, but be sure to support everybody that's casting SECS action. I hope you liked what you saw. And I'm also casting G1 League replays during the week. Not streaming them. I'm just casting them, putting them on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in watching those games, and instead of perhaps tuning in really early in the morning, you can watch my replays on my YouTube channel. So be sure to check out my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/NYJohnTV. It's somewhere in the info too of my Twitch channel. So look for it there. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in. It's been enjoyable. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.